Ah.
Hello. Hello,
Hello,
and
Beena.
good morning, Syl. Good morning to
Yes, good
everyone,
morning.
whoever
Good
is joining
morning.
us.
Good morning.
Yes, and welcome
Good morning.
to the Moreness
Wonderful,
Culture.
wonderful Beena. Say that
And,
again?
and welcome to the Moreness Culture.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. An exemplification, at least, and an implementation of it as best we are
Ex-
able. And we
Exactly.
try. We're not
Exactly.
saying we are perfect at it, but or ideal even. We try. Try. And that's the point of it, you know. Honest culture isn't something that isn't necessarily like a thing. It is the moreness lies somewhat in the trying, in the doing, in the application. How much doesn't matter. It's somewhat irrelevant. Yes.
Yes.
Well, that's very powerful. It's very powerful when we understand that and we're aware of it and know how it works. Very powerful indeed. Fun stuff.
It is
Fun
powerful.
stuff. Stuff.
Exactly. And this is very crucial to understand that, because what the point you are sharing right now, that okay, yes, it is not perfect, it is not ideal, and we are trying. This is the story for every new startup, every new concept. The initial stage is almost always like that, which
Yes.
is actually very appropriate, because it
Yes.
gives you it actually challenge you on maximum level, so you can be
Yes.
thorough, so you can actually see the problems which might be overlooked easily. If everything will be smooth for you, then okay, yeah, the world is la la land for me and I can do whatever I want to. But
Right.
challenges comes when we start doing something, especially new idea, any new concept. It gives us more challenges to become familiar with, the ins and out of those things. And this is what is happening. And this is also when you say about writing, write ugly, edit pretty. I love this,
Right. Ugly,
because
edit pretty. Yes. Yes.
yes. And you always say that, and you can implement just this code anywhere in any aspect of your life.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do it ugly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, do it well later. You can do that. You
Right.
can
Right.
modify it according to the
Right.
situation, according to the
Right.
circumstances, and
Yeah.
and apply it. It works in every
Yes.
situation. When
And
we
be
when we start,
yes.
yes, no,
Oh, go ahead.
please.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying that, okay, it is the idea of so-called perfectionism we have.
Exactly.
Actually,
Exactly.
this is the basic of the
Yeah.
procrastination dilemma we all are suffering,
Right.
almost
Right.
every one of
And
us.
it leads to
We
that
keep delaying
block,
things.
trying to do things
Yes,
perfect, it blocks you because you can't imagine how to do it perfect. So you can't do anything. You get stuck. It's
yes,
very simple. It's very simple.
yes.
Right.
So when you have
Or
this liberty and
you keep trying, and whatever you do, but it's not perfect. So you don't implement it. You don't do it. You never get anywhere. It's terrible.
yes,
Terrible.
and when someone can give you this liberty, this freedom, that okay, do whatever, actually do it
Wow.
ugly, then suddenly feel like the whole pressure, stress, burden lifts up, and now you can
Exactly.
do whatever you
Exactly.
want to. No
Exactly.
expectations, because
Exactly.
you
And
are
and
giving
ugly
them the
here
worst.
means not necessarily literally ugly, but
Yes,
non-perfect, incomplete.
yes.
That doesn't matter. Also,
Even
we
if we
need to
just take it theoretically, like really literally, by word,
exactly. It
if
doesn't
someone
matter.
can get
Exactly.
no, if someone can say you and giving you this word that okay, oh, right, ugly and other, it lifts up the burden immediately, that okay, I can do whatever
Yeah.
I want to, I can do it later. Just this,
Yeah.
bringing
Yeah.
this understanding, this awareness to the forefront of your consciousness is a big deal. It's a big deal. This is the maximum help one can actually ever give you, and provide you to start.
Yes.
Procrastination, of course, is another way of not feeling good enough. But once you get that okay,
Exactly. 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 Also, also. It's a lack of
Yes.
trust. You say,
Yes.
but lack of trust in what? Lack of trust in your ability to adapt as you progress. Yeah. I might not
Yes.
have any clue where I'm going. Yes, but if I'm sitting in my house, right, and I want to go somewhere far away, well, I don't know if I'm on the right path. Well, get on the road and see where the signs are leading you. See what I mean? Okay, you say, well, I'm going west. Oh, I'm supposed to be going east. Okay, well, turn around. You don't know until you're out there. But your ability to adapt is really, really powerful, especially in, things where you're not sure, like writing. Literally try and write rubbish. I mean, literally try and write really badly. You're going to see how difficult that is. Yeah, and try it. Actually, try it. It's really, really difficult. Yeah, your brain automatically starts improving as you're going along, but because it has that freedom, you are now free to be creative, and because you are not looking at form and style, you're free to focus on content, and that the later can always be adjusted. Now that's with writing, but the same applies to any behavior. When you're doing something, let's just say, for instance, public speaking. I'm not talking about the content of your speech. I'm talking about how you do it. When you start, you're a bit nervous, you're a bit awkward. But then as you start, you say, well, this is not as difficult as I thought it was. It's just talking, really. You don't know what I was worried about. And then you start updating and you get better as you go along, right? That key, that incremental updating, this is very powerful and applies to almost anything that we do. Can apply to actual skills, literally.
Yes.
Okay, you've never done something before and you start, let's say, carving a turkey. I don't know why this is such a big deal for a lot of people, but it's like a thing, right? To carve a turkey, it's like some magical skill. You just start. You say, "Oh, this isn't working. Okay, I better try it a little differently," and you adjust and adapt. May even be incremental, and maybe others don't even notice. It doesn't matter. Or if they do notice, they see you adapting and changing, and then okay, I figured it out. Right? That ability to make mistakes, learn from them, adapt, and improve. That's the key process. But of course, if you hug up about looking bad, heaven forbid you should ever be seen to make a mistake. Well, then, of course, you're never going to be able to make mistakes in order to learn from them, adapt, and improve. And then you just never do anything. Or when you do things, you end up really making a fool of yourself because you are trying to not look bad. And it's very obvious to people that you've got an ego. And then you look worse. I love how counterproductive that is. But the egomaniacs, the narcissists, they don't realize this. And they end up making fools of themselves. If you don't care about looking bad, it's not possible to make a fool of yourself. At least not for people who have any kind of sense. They just see somebody who's trying, who's making an effort, who's learning, adapting, growing. And sometimes you might not succeed at all. And you say, wow, that was much harder than I thought. Well, I better need to get some training here, get some skill, get some assistance. Or realize that, well, this is outside of my skill level. Yeah. And then, either make the effort to get the skills or realize this is just not for you. Yes. And there may be things that, for instance, require dexterity that you don't have, or that would take, multiple years to acquire. Like playing a guitar. Well, okay, it looks easy, but I got some numbness in my fingers. It's not going to happen. All right, whatever. Until us, so you get realistic about what's going on. Is my point. But it's that ability to adapt in the moment, and
Yes.
it happens very fast sometimes, very, very fast. It's amazing our ability to adapt. That is if our energy is free to adapt, and our energy is not focused on, oh my god, I'm look bad, I'm going to make a mistake, whatever. See, it sucks all your energy and you can't actually adapt, you can't actually be creative, you block yourself. Yeah, not good at all,
Yes.
not good at all. Hello and welcome to the Moreness culture, says Beena. Yes, yes. And you can type there. I think I will. I'll just make a comment to say that uh, uh, we love comments and questions, right, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
And we'll always respond to them, right? Right,
We
Beena?
will always try to respond to them.
Yes, yes. I don't know that
Yes.
person who commented the other day, which I thought was on YouTube. I didn't see their comments on YouTube there, so I don't know if that was YouTube or
Oh,
Instagram, but I thought it was YouTube. They had the YouTube symbol there, but it doesn't show as a comment on the recording of it on YouTube. Well, it's very odd. All right, let's get going. Let's get going. And let's continue with timing in strategy. Yeah. Yeah. Timing is a fun topic. Very powerful.
yes.
Brilliant. And you'd like me to read, right, Beena? Today for a
Yes.
change. All right. All right.
Yes,
That's
for
for
a
a change.
change.
Okay. Okay. I'll read.
No,
I'll read. I'll read. You know, change is
you
good. I like it.
always, you are very appropriate in putting the right on emphasis on right time at right point, and give expression also. So I really enjoy that.
Your reading is good. You know, I mean, also part of what we do with our capital reading is practice. Yeah, and reading, especially to really read well, takes a lot of practice. Yeah,
Yes,
it's a tremendous practice because it's a complex, nuanced skill. It's a very
yes,
multi-layered skill, right? And for me, every time I read, I learn, I improve. Plus, you've got to train your brain. For instance, in order to read well, you need to basically read the sentence ahead of your voice. Your eyes continually need to be reading ahead and your voice comes up behind. That's something that just takes skill to practice. And because when you're
yes,
reading that, you see that what's coming, and that allows you to retroactively apply the appropriate nuance, tone, mood, cadence, rhythm, pauses, etc. So it's a skill. It's a deep skill. Now, of course, it also depends on the writing sometimes. And when you're doing like audio for books, sometimes you see the sentence, and then it says, well, so and so said gruffly. Well, I only see that afterwards. Now, when you're reading this with your eyes, it doesn't matter because you fill it in retroactively. It's fascinating how the brain works with this, right? And it's not that critical. You don't have to say ahead of time, so and so gruffly said, and then whatever they said. Sometimes it's good to do that, especially if it's going to be a long thing. But but when you read, typically your eyes grab stuff and you hear that mood. But with audio, of course, you have to see that gruffly and retroactively do it. So sometimes with audio recordings, you have to stop and redo it in order to fill that in. That's something that's rather interesting, right?
yes. It
Okay.
is interesting, and of course, it needs a lot of practice and
Yes.
also
Yes.
understanding.
Correct.
I
Correct.
I still feel that I do get like really excited. I can't hold my expression. I can't pretend that okay, oh yes, it's there, because whenever I hear, I read something which is profound, I, my mind
Yeah.
is actually like a child in this thing that it
But
always
we
like,
don't
oh,
want you to hold that in, Bina.
oh,
That's why I
okay,
love to
what?
hear you reading, because
I
I want
feel
to
that okay.
hear that excitement, that thrill, that joy. That's important. That's what capital reading, our reading is, not only for looking at the nuanced layers of discernment, but it's also to share our passion, our interest, and to say, wow, this is really cool. I want to know more. And then use that passion, that energy to explore that more. Yeah. Make sense?
Yes, yes. But
So
I
it's
was
very
just saying that
important. Very
for
important,
the
that
readers,
energy.
because this experience of like, because sometimes our expectations with like, oh, they are reading a storybook, yeah, they are reading a profound book here, and
Yeah. Yeah.
interrupting, stopping again and again and again, sometimes repeating things, makes them like, okay, oh, now they're just losing the rhythm and all that momentum and all. But this is what capital R reading is. We are not leaving. We are actually paying due respect to Miyamoto Musashi here,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
we are
Exactly.
paying attention, we are investing our energy,
Yes.
time, and effort
Yes.
to understand
Yes.
things in context, but also on an abstract level.
Yes. And it is a full implementation of honesty. Yes, we are sharing how we feel, and we aren't holding anything back. We're sharing all of it, but we're also sharing
Yes,
the more that comes, right? So that's
yes,
part of it. It's very hard when you really make an effort to live by honesty. It's very hard not to share everything. Yes. it becomes very difficult. It's very profound. It's of course very useful. And then, what we share is like, wow, this was important to me. This is important to you. We learn from that, and it feeds off each other, and we stimulate and motivate each other. It's a fantastic process. It's very, very, very cool. I mean, it's the application. And look what Musashi says, right? He says, think about it, practice it, apply it, implement it. He says this over and over and over again. Research it, right? That's what we're doing in real time. We're doing it in real time because when we discuss more, we are also implementing and applying and practicing. Yeah, it all works together.
Oh
Many
yes.
levels to
Yes.
this. Also, with
Yes.
with with the skill of reading, by the way, it is about emphasis and appropriate emphasis, and also in timing. Yes, yes, you got to read commas and full stops, but there are there are very slight nuanced pauses, which when you listen to AI, they don't always get, right? I mean, you can read it with exact timing, like with the AI. And you can say, there is timing in everything. And so what's stated, there is timing in everything. You see, there was a slight pause after timing, not long
Yes.
enough for a comma, because if there had
Yes.
been a comma, it would be, there is timing in everything. See, the comma changes the whole sentence now, right? But without the
Yes.
comma, there's still a little bit of a pause to say there is timing in everything. Now, again, I'm emphasizing timing, I'm emphasizing everything. Why? Because I understand what the sentence means. And it's important. So you've got to hear the author's voice. Yes. I cannot
Yes.
imagine Musashi saying, there's timing in everything, like it's some boring, like, no, there is timing in everything, right? This is in everything. It's a huge point. So that subtle, nuanced emphasis there, it's very powerful. It's not, I mean, he didn't say everything like in italics, yes, which would even be more emphasis, but it's implied. So we have to read the meaning, not only the words. Likewise, when we are practicing capital H hearing, we need to learn to hear that, because sometimes people don't express what they say and what they mean, very different things. So when we learn to listen to meaning, you learn to listen to intent, you learn to hear those, changes everything. Right? So it's very important, very important. We struggle to say what we mean. Honest people always mean, yes, mean what they mean, but they don't necessarily mean what they say. They think they do, but the reality is they don't say what they mean accurately. Poor communication, right? So it causes a problem. All right, let's read. Timing and strategy. There is timing in everything. Timing in strategy cannot be mastered without a great deal of practice. Cannot be mastered without a great deal of practice. Timing is important in dancing and pipe or string music, for they are in rhythm only if timing is good. Timing and rhythm are also involved in the military arts, shooting bows and guns and riding horses. In all skills and ability, there is timing. There is also timing in the void. I see my voice changed slightly there to give an extra level of importance in my tonality. Why? Because that sentence is on its own. It's been
Yes.
isolated, right?
Yes.
It is important. There is also timing in the void. That is something that is a very multi-layered sentence. And a bit of an oxymoron in a sense, because you say, well, but the void is nothing. How can there be timing there? Right? So this is very interesting to understand, right? So we'll see what he means. There is timing in the whole life of the warrior. I love this. There is timing in the whole life of the warrior. I would have, as an editor, recommended Musashi, you put the full stop there. Yes? Correct, Beena? Because that's a profound statement. When you are looking at timing in your actions of the now, right? Like
Yes.
we're just looking at the timing in terms of how we are presenting our share, our live, our open year, right? And the
Yes.
timing would involve subject matter covering the allotted time, going longer, shorter, and having an appropriateness to that. But when you start to put this in the context of timing in my life, well, I've only got so much time in my life, and there are things I need to get done in terms of personal growth, personal development, skills I have to learn. Is this helping me do that? Oh,
Hmm.
well, no, I'm just doing this for, I don't know, whatever. Oh, no, but this is important. This does help me. See, now we start to see, are things falling into place in the entirety of my life? If not, I need to change things. I need to make a different effort. We need to understand that.
Hmm.
Plus, when we understand timing in the whole of our life, we start to
Hmm.
understand capital T trust and impeccability. Now, you can't have capital T trust in things working out good if you haven't been impeccable. If I've been impeccable, and which means I've done everything that I can do, that I know to do. I've been thorough. I've been conscientious. I've been scrupulous. I've been diligent. I've been disciplined. Yes, I've been all of these things that I know to do. Right. I've done my homework, done my due diligence, done my research. Right. I've done all the things. I've practiced, implemented, but I can see no hope.
Hmm.
I have no idea if what I'm doing is going to get me to where I want to go. I have to trust. I have to trust. It's as simple as that. Yes, I have to
Hmm.
trust. And when you set a course on the ocean for the other side of the ocean, you've done your research, you've looked at the maps, you've consulted the navigation, consulted the scars.
Uh,
Yes, I'm on the right journey. Yeah, getting across this ocean, well, we've been here 3 weeks already, whatever. See what I mean? You have to just trust you're
yes.
going to get there. That's all there is to it. At some point, you do everything you can and then you trust. Yeah. It's
Exactly.
fantastic. Now, that's the same in life, right? You don't know, but you have to trust, because if you don't trust, then you're in a mess. Yes, then you're in a big mess. Yeah, especially if you're like in sea voyages, very good example to learn from sea voyages. Very often, like when you're crossing the ocean, you might just only have enough supplies for a one-way trip. Now, let's say you estimated more or less, right? You've got it's gonna take 100 days to cross the ocean, and you take food for 100 days. Yeah,
Hmm.
but you start to get to day 90 or so, and or maybe it goes 110 days. All right, you took a bit extra food to last you in case you were wrong. You allowed for a margin of error. But what are you going to do when you get to day 110, 115, whatever? You can't turn back. Then you definitely don't have enough food to get back. You have to keep going. But it's amazing how many did turn back and died. Not
Hmm.
just in ocean voyages, but like in Arctic or Antarctic, exploration missions or whatever. They ran out of trust. Well, they never had the trust in the first place. They lost that hope, yeah, and they gave up. Sometimes, famously, they were just short of the destination, and there they died. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It's very interesting to read some of those failed missions, right? And you read the journals and everything. How the attitude, the psychology, they didn't have timing. Yes, they didn't have trust. So timing is also about capital T trust. Now I got to emphasize again, cannot have capital T trust without it being built on a foundation of impeccability. Because trust without impeccability is just hope and wishful thinking and, oh yeah, everything will work out. I don't have to do anything. This is just indulgence, laziness, nonsense, foolishness. Yeah, no good at all, right? So you got to do your part. Got to do your part, right? All right.
Yes.
There is timing in the whole life of a warrior. And, in way of impeccability, we would now timing becomes capital T timing, right? We're understanding this differently. Yes. Timing for the whole life of your warrior is capital T timing. Timing in the void, capital T timing. Timing when you're doing sword fighting or playing music, this is little T timing. Yes. Big difference. Okay. Again, communication, right? And it's one of the revolutionary things about the language of conceptuality, way of impeccability, is this use of capitalization. To understand there's a difference in this big picture timing, little picture timing. Yeah, very, very big difference. All right, there is timing in the whole life of the warrior, in his thriving and declining, in his harmony and discord. Similarly, there is timing in the way of the merchant, in the rise and fall of capital. All things entail rising and falling timing. You must be able to discern this. All right, now let's go this. What would it be in way of impeccability for this timing in all things? It's attunement. When you're in
Yes.
attunement, your timing is there. It's automatic. Things happen. You're in the right time, the right place. You act. Yes. Well, of course, when things come and open up and a door opens and opportunity comes, you're getting shoved to do something. You don't resist. You go with it, right? You walk through the door. You seize the opportunity. You have to seize an opportunity. Yeah. Don Juan had a nice comment, a nice way of saying this. He said you have to grab your cubic centimeter of chance. He said it would pop up in front of you, cubic centimeter of chance. I can just imagine this in like a sci-fi type movie or a fantasy movie, right? Little spinning thing, all magic energy around it. And you got to pluck it. You got to grab it. Yes. Like very literally. Yeah. I love that cubic centimeter of chance, right? Because it's like dice, cubic. Because a dice is typically a cubic centimeter or maybe a little bigger, right? But that's roughly what a dice is, yeah? Or die, single. Yeah? It's a cubic centimeter of chance. Right? It's a brilliant way of saying that. It's very fun.
Yes.
Love that. You must be able to discern this. In strategy, there are various timing considerations. From the outset, you must know the applicable timing and the inapplicable timing, both. You must know when to play your note, if you like a musician, and you must know when to be silent. Same thing with talking. You must know when to speak and when to shut up, right? It's very important. Yes. Yeah. Very, very critical. So inapplicable timing is just as important as applicable timing. From the outset, you must know the applicable timing and the inapplicable timing. And from among the large and small things and the fast and slow timings, find the relevant timing. First, seeing the distance timing and the background timing. Ah, all right. Let me emphasize on that a little bit extra elaboration here, just from a
Hmm.
communication point of view. Yes,
Hmm.
he's talking about the perception of pattern and rhythm. Now, pattern can be a non-pattern. Yes, like I think dubstep has kind of a non-usual rhythm, still a rhythm. Yes, it's not a usual rhythm; it's a non-rhythm, like a broken rhythm. Yes, like somebody who's like a drunken rhythm. Yes, it's a rhythm still. You can recognize it as a drunken rhythm, but there's no repeat pattern. It goes this way and then staggers a little bit that way, and then it moves kind of steadily, and there's a lot of randomness involved. But in its totality, you can still hear it as drunken rhythm. Yes, we recognize these things. We have incredible skills at the recognition of rhythm and both pattern. Even when it's non-obvious broken patterns, we still recognize them. Yes, we have fantastic skills in this. It's a survival skill, right? So just realize this and use it. So this is very key what he's saying, right? When you're seeing fast and small, timing is pattern and rhythm, understanding that, yes? Looking at the bigger picture, understanding its connection. And in order to perceive timing, yes, we need to be able to look forward and look backwards. So we want to have an awareness of what's happened, and we want to have an awareness of what's coming, which means we want to have an anticipation mindset, which means we're looking at what's about to happen. And we have an extrapolation mindset, which takes the current, the past, and the immediate future that we can see coming. And we say, let's go further than that, right? Like on a graph, let's say a sales graph, you take your sales of last month, this month, and okay, we're likely to have this much, and then you have that dot 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 dot, right? That continues the curve. That's extrapolation, right? Taking it further. And when we do this, this is fantastically useful. Yes, I mean, if you're in music, you need to know what's coming a little bit, because you may have music that, yes, okay, if it's a very steady beat and a rhythm, it's the same thing all the time. But what if it's music that changes all the time, like in classical music? You need to extrapolate a little bit. You can hear the climax, hear the end. Oh, it's right. So if it's new to the music, you can potentially anticipate that. Not always, but at least mostly. At least you're ready for it when it comes, that you can change quickly. So it's very, very key. Now, of course, in something like sword fighting, anticipation and extrapolation are absolutely huge and critical. You can go even further. You can utilize timing to create a timing in your opponent and cause them to fall into a rhythm and a pattern that you can predict, and then you know where they're going, and well, then you got them, right? So it becomes a very serious issue. And also, you don't want to be in, okay, block, 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 and you just think it's going to carry on forever, and then suddenly it's not left, right, but instead of going all that pattern, it's suddenly left, right, left, right, left, left, left. Oh, Oh, I was expecting to go right, and our body's ability to, or innate tendency to follow rhythm and pattern works against you, because now you're blocking right, you're blocking left, right, and you think you're going to go right, and you go right, but you leave your left open. You see, so we have to respond instantly and not follow pattern from a defensive point of view. But you can create this in your opponent, and if they fall for it and they start doing it innately, you've got them. Tweaking things. Yes, okay, it's a serious point in strategy when it comes to martial arts, but this applies in many other factors as well in life. Yes. Well, when you're writing, you might want to set up a pattern where the reader expects this, and then you break it deliberately. Just, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. And when we read, we like to be surprised. We like to be connected to something like, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming. Yeah. Twists, plot twists. It's exactly what a plot twist is. Breaking pattern, right? Breaking timing. Yeah. Fun stuff, right? When we apply it. This is the main thing in strategy, right? First, seeing the distance timing and the background timing. See both, right? This is the main thing in timing. It is especially important to know the background timing. Otherwise, your strategy will become uncertain. You win in battles with this timing in the void born of the timing of cunning by knowing the enemy's timing and thus using a timing which the enemy does not expect. Oh, yes, Musashi saying exactly what I was saying. Sorry, Musashi. But again, see, this is coming from my habit, my practice of having developed the skill of anticipation and extrapolation. I didn't know that was coming, but from what he's writing, this follows. It's a duh. It just follows, right? So I'm just extrapolating on what's there, and going further. He may or may not have said what he just said, but it just happens to coincide. But it's very helpful, and also now you say, yeah, but so aren't you being redundant? What's the value in it? The value in it for me is that I'm practicing my skill of extrapolation and this by stating it out loud and not knowing what's to come and then seeing it come. I can say, oh, okay, I was extrapolating well. I was extrapolating and anticipating accurately. So it reinforces and builds my skill. The more you do that, the more you trust that skill. I do. I trust that skill very much now because I practice it all the time and I get good confirmation. And when I don't, I say, well, where did I go off? What did I miss here? And I learn and I grow. So it's a very profound skill for developing your mindset, your awareness, right? And your skills of thinking, your skills of being. All the 5 books are chiefly concerned with timing. I would so have loved that word to be capital T timing there, right? It changes it. Yes, the capital T timing there is actually so crucial, don't you think, Beena? Yeah, where'd Beena go?
Sorry, say it again.
I say all the 5 books are chiefly concerned with timing. But I would
Hmm.
have so loved it where if it had been capital T timing there, yes,
Hmm.
because that changes it. It's not just with regular timing, it's capital T. There's a difference, right? And you must train sufficiently to appreciate all this. You need to have the experience to see when lack of timing
Yes.
doesn't work. Yeah. So you need
Yes.
to, again, same thing with reading, the skill of reading aloud. And not reading for your own comprehension, but reading as a communication, right? This is all about timing, absolutely critical. But you have to practice sufficiently to appreciate this. If you don't practice, you'll never know how important timing is in reading. Yes, I mean, all those nuance, emphasis, all about timing. If you practice day and night in the above itchy school strategy, your spirit will naturally broaden. Okay, we'll take that on faith. Yes. Now, personally, I would say, yes, this is true. But I personally would say, don't believe me. Go out and test it and see for yourself. Verify it for yourself. Don't believe a word I say. Right. This is large-scale strategy and the strategy of hand-to-hand combat propagated in the world. This is recorded for the first time in the 5 books of ground, water, fire, tradition, wind, and void. This is the way for men who want to learn my strategy. : Do not think this honestly. It intrigues me no end how that is stated in the negative, not in the positive. It implies, that this was fairly common for men to think this honestly, right? The way is in the training. Application is everything. Yes. Without application, it's all meaningless. The way is in the training. Practice, capital P, practice. Become acquainted with every art. See the big picture, in other words. When you become acquainted, it doesn't say master or be skilled at it, just acquainted. When you are acquainted with all the different arts, it enables you to see the similarities. And that's abstract thinking, abstract awareness. You get to conceptuality. And then when you develop this and you actually acquire this language of conceptuality, which is going a little bit beyond Musashi, now you have tremendous value, right? But he's on the cusp of it there. He's starting to go in that way. Know the ways of all professions. Same thing. He might as well just say it. Know the abstract. When he says know the ways of all professions, understand the abstract content, the abstract cause, the abstract similarities, right? So in all ways, you need to have discipline, for instance, perseverance. Right? This is what the language of conceptuality is. It's all about extracting those commonalities, right? Knowing the ways, right? That's why it's way of impeccability. It's a commonality. Right? Language of conceptuality could also be called the way of conceptuality. Yes. But language has that impliedness of being common to everything. Yes. Whatever profession you do, use the same language. Or you use some language. Yeah. So language is common, in other words. Distinguish between gain and loss in worldly matters. That seems rather obvious, doesn't it, Beena?
Yes.
It's fascinating how many people don't notice that they have a gain or don't notice that they have a loss because they never ask the
Yes.
question or they
Yes.
just assume. Yeah, all right, well, I get fired. I'm assuming that's a loss. Is it really? If you get
Hmm.
fired from a horrible job, it's a gain, not a loss.
Yes.
Yeah. Develop intuitive judgment and understanding for everything. This is a tricky one. I have to be very careful with intuition. But intuition and instinct, not necessarily the same. Yeah. People confuse them and they get into trouble because they trust their instincts. And your instincts are telling you what in the past has always worked when certain circumstances prevail. Change the circumstances and your instinct no longer applies. But we can very easily be fooled into saying, well, this looks the same and it should be the same and whatever. And you trust your instincts and you do the same thing that's worked 99 times out of 100, but it's the 100th time. See? And that's very poor. All right, take crossing a road. Yes, take crossing a road, like on a highway out in like in through forest country, not very frequently traveled highway. You the rabbit or the chicken or the tortoise or whatever. You cross this highway day in, day out. You cross it every time. Yes. If you cross that highway randomly, what are the chances of you being hit by a car? 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000. Problem is, you trust your instinct. I've crossed this thing all my life. I've been crossing this road and I never got hit. Why should I get it now? Because your timing is off. Yeah. See? Distinguish between gains and develop intuitive judgment and understanding for everything. Now, what is intuition? Intuition is taking an implication chain, which if you break it down, you say, well, this happens, then that follows, and then this follows, and this follows, and compressing it and understanding it in the moment. Yes. I don't have to think it through consciously and logically. It's all already there. And we don't notice that we've got this implication chain compressed into a moment. Yes. But if you're really paying attention to your awareness, you'll actually see you can take that moment and spread it out. And you can observe what happens. And it's very powerful when this happens, right? So intuition, instinct, very different. Right? I mean, that point of I'm making about crossing the roads, it's why animals get killed because they absolutely have come to learn that it's safe because it is in general safe. And their instinct, their DNA says you can cross the road, no problem. It's just, different kinds, different kind of earth and rock. There's no real danger there. It's fascinating, no? Fascinating. Perceive those things which cannot be seen. Precisely back to the rabbit crossing the road. They can't see the car, but they need to perceive the car. Yeah. Now, they might not have the tools at hand, but me walking through the forest and the jungle, I come to a road, I can perceive what's not seen. Yeah, because it's a road. By implication, I can understand there are vehicles on this road. Yes, or potentially. Yeah. So many things. When we learn to pay attention to implication, construct things, look at what flows, what comes from things, what's implied. Very powerful. We can learn to see things that cannot be seen, and also we can see things that cannot be seen through their absence. Yeah. For instance, this is how some planets got to be discovered. Yeah, because they took the or moons. Yes, so they observed the planets, and they said, but you know what? This planet has an orbit, but yet the orbit doesn't quite fit. It's moving a little bit here, moving a little bit there. There's fluctuations in the planet which aren't explained by what we see. So you do calculations, and you can infer, oh, there's a moon that we can't see. The telescope's not strong enough, right? And that's how they discovered some black holes. They saw the planets are moving around. They can't see the black hole directly, but they can see the things moving. So by implication, it's there. Right? Implication, incredibly strong skill. It allows us to see things which cannot be seen. Pay attention even to trifles. There are no small things. They're all important. Pay attention to trifles. The sublime is in the mundane. It's only a perspective shift away. Very, very important. Do nothing which is of no use. Have clarity of intent. When you have clarity of intent, every single thing you do is meaningful. It has value. It's sensible. Huh. Something just fell and dropped. Oh, I see. I heard it, but interesting. Ah, there it is. Okay. Strange sounds coming here. It's very interesting sounds. Excuse me. All right. Very good. So yes, do nothing which is of no use. That not only is, having clarity of intent and purpose, but it's also best use of energy. Yeah. If you're doing things which are of no use, you're wasting energy. Yes. Or spending energy. And yes, you might get some short-term value, but you can get short-term value through investing, which gives you the benefit now and later. You can combine both. Very strategic. Very, very strategic. Let's continue. It is important to start by setting these broad principles in your heart and train in the way of strategy. Now, if we get a little bit more sophisticated with this, setting these broad principles in your heart, this is making it your own, owning it, putting it into your body physically. Yes, incorporating it. That's what the word incorporate means, to make physical. Yes. Bring into the body, corporeal, corpus, body, the root Latin word, yeah? Yeah, very, very important, very, very important. So this is really key. If you don't make it your own, right, you don't take those broad principles into your heart, you don't make them your own, if you don't really thoroughly understand them, how are you going to use them? You don't believe in it, it's not your own. We can't really do things that we don't believe in. Our body goes against it. We don't like falseness and phoniness. So our intent to goodness, our innate goodness, just rebels against this, and it makes us ineffective. I'm not really one with this. I don't really see the sense of it. I don't see the purpose of it. It's that great movie with Sigourney Weaver called The Holes, right? Where she's this supposedly wicked prison warden, and she has the prisoners dig holes, and she doesn't give them any reason, and they absolutely hate it. It's like this severe torture, right? They want there to be a purpose to the holes. Yeah. The fact that it's purposeless really, really makes it stressful. Yeah. So same thing. If we can't see the sense of it, it feels purposeless, pointless, meaningless, and it causes us suffering and stress. And of course, we're going to abandon whatever it is very quickly. This is why people buy self-help books or programs, and they can't really see the sense of it, and they just quit and then just give up. Yeah. Well, a lot of them don't even believe that they can change, so there's no point in pursuing it. Tony Robbins once said of one of his best-selling books, when in the beginning, when he was early on, he said, I've written the best-selling book that nobody's read, because they actually followed up and they did research they went and checked with the people, have you read the book? And they all said, well, most of them said no, like 75%. It's crazy. Right? So you have to make it your own, right? Take these setting these. Yeah, now you have to start by setting these, not taking them into your heart, but by setting these broad principles in your heart. See, setting them into your heart. Because when you set something, you solidify it, you make it there, solid, right? And train in the way of strategy. If you do not look at things on a large scale, it will be difficult for you to master strategy. You can almost take that as a quote. It's a very cool quote to pull from this, right? If you do not look at things on a large scale, it will be difficult for you to master strategy. It's why overview perspective is one of such a key term in the language of conceptuality and dictionary of power in way of impeccability. Overview perspective is critical. You need to look at things from the universe's perspective, right? Very, very important. Very, very important. If you learn and attain the strategy, you will never lose even to 20 or 30 enemies. A bit of a bold claim, but still. More than anything to start with, you must set your heart on strategy and earnestly stick to the way. All right. So again, if you want to be a bit more clear here, Musashi, because anybody with some discernment, and again, when you make such bold statements, people want to pick at it, right? So I mean, to pick at it, say, you will never lose even to 20 or 30 enemies. Now, what if the 20 or 30 enemies are also doing what you're teaching, Musashi? Then what? So he says to 20 or 30 enemies who do not learn this, right? It's implied, but he needs to say it. Then it makes sense, right? Okay. This will give you an edge. More than anything to start with, you must set your heart on strategy and earnestly stick to the way. I love that he uses the word earnestly. Yes, very important to be earnest. Yeah, very, very important. You will come to be able to actually beat men in fights and to be able to win with your eye. Hmm. That's a very nuanced point here. Very, very nuanced point here. Yes. To be able to win with your eye. Just elaborate on this. Yeah. And many things in Musashi which are like this. Like I said, he's a poor communicator. He knows what he means. It's very clear and obvious to him, but not necessarily so to others. In other words, if you're going to win with your eye, if I see trouble coming before trouble sees me, I can set my strategy ahead of time. The time trouble gets me, I'm ready, I'm prepared. I can spring my defenses, spring my trap, whatever, right? I'm ready, they not. I've already got the advantage. Very simple, right? Just with your literal eye, right? Just seeing what's coming. When you see the bigger picture, you can see the pattern, the flow, the timing. Right? Very important. Again, win with your eye, seeing the bigger picture. Right? It's a metaphorical eye in that case. But uh, there's also another aspect of dueling, which if you watch in some of the older samurai movies, they understand this, right? And you have the duelists and they stand there and they stand perfectly still and they're just staring at each other and say, well, what are they waiting for? Yeah? Well, maybe they're scared to start or whatever. No, what they're doing is assessing each other. You're assessing each other's mindset, assessing your courage, assessing your confidence, right? That's very much in your eye. Yes. If you have that and you standing there and you staring at each other in the eye, and I have a moment of doubt and my eyes go, right? Which is when you have doubt, we typically, when we're thinking about something, go, in that moment where your eyes move up and you're thinking like that, right? I see this. Your eye has betrayed you. That's an opening for me. That's when I strike and you're dead. Things happen very fast in sword fights. Yeah. So the eye, setting your eye is very, very important. Yes. And sometimes in some of those fights, they'll just stand and stare, and at some point they'll come to realize that this isn't going anywhere. It's a dead end for neither. It's a no-win situation for both, and they'll step back and let go of the duel. Yes, the challenge, the fight. Yeah, yeah. So you can win by not winning. Different strategy. Yeah. Does that all make sense, Beena? What I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, your eye is a conveyor of attitude. It's not the only one, but it's the most potent one. Yes. And if you are going to be looking to determine where somebody is, the eyes will tell you much. Of course, when it comes to movement, you have to be a little bit more sophisticated. You have to look at the center of mass, which is what determines your movement. Not the arms, not the legs, not the head, right? because I can tilt my head, indicating I'm going to go this way. But you see, I tilt my head, I haven't moved yet. But what if I tilt my head and move? You see, my center of mass moves. You see? Well, I can keep my head still and move my center of mass. You see? Now I've committed. Yeah, it's a very big difference, right? Because in order to move the center of mass, I have to shift my weight, shift my balance, right? So if I'm literally doing this, I'd have to push down on my one leg in order to do this, yes? Which means I've got some commitment until I stop, which means I have to commit energy and force to that leg. Yeah, so you know where somebody's going, even if it's for a fraction of a second. Timing is everything. See? Nuances, Beena, nuances, right? All right. I mean, I'm going a little bit more literal, but again, center of mass, when we take it more figuratively, say, yeah, but you know what? So I'm not going to go around fighting. Uh, but we're always in some way, in something that applies in an abstract way is very potent. Yes. Now, when you're in a conversation, when you're in an engagement, you're going on a date. What is the equivalent of a center of mass on a date? It's not necessarily a battle, but it could be not in the sense that you're arguing with the person, but what are you looking to determine? In a fight, you're looking to determine where your opponent is going. But in a relationship, wait a second. Yes, I also do kind of know where, yeah, or at least like in our first date, I do want to know where this is going. I'm very serious. I like them, but do they like me? Are they serious? Right? So you want to know where your opponent's going. What's the equivalent of their center of mass? In a figurative sense, their intent. Yes. Okay, they came on the date because, well, what's the intent? They don't really have an intent. Their friend pushed them into it. Their mother said they must go, whatever, right? And they just here because of external pressure. They don't have any intent to be here in themselves. Well, that tells you a lot right there. It may turn out good. It may go somewhere, but you don't have anything to work with, right? Because you lost. Yeah. So it's very helpful. But if they have an intent, wow, this person, yeah, I mean, I'm on a first date, dang, but they want to get married already because they're desperate to get married. All right, sorry, guy, sorry, girl. It's a little too fast for me. See, it gives you lots of information. So center of mass, yeah, and movement, when we equate it with intent, tells us a lot. Yes. Now, of course, in sword fighting too. I don't know if Musashi I don't remember him using intent, but when using your eye to see this, it leaves it as a very broad point. But when you can learn to perceive intent, oh boy, now you can even see the movement before the movement even starts, because you see the intent to move, right? You see the intent to strike in a certain way. You see the intent to defend, whatever. Right? So learning to read intent, very, very powerful. Intent, very difficult to hide, if not impossible. Yes, because when you are looking to disguise it, you have the intent to disguise. Doesn't matter if you're successful or not. If I see your intent to disguise, I know what's coming. Yeah, I know not to trust. Right. Uh, you will come to be able to actually beat men in fights and to be able to win with your eye. Also, by training, you will be able to freely control your own body, conquer men with your body, and with sufficient training, you will be able to beat 10 men with your spirit. When you have reached this point, will it not mean that you are invincible? This desire to be invincible is absolutely intrinsic to the superiority paradigm, logic, and mindset. It is the goal they seek to attain. It is an impossible goal, of course. Yeah, but if you look at anybody caught up in that, this is the goal, the idea. Now, Musashi comes about as close to that as you can come in a realistic sense as one person without being a dictator. But any dictator, are they really invincible? No. Just history is replete. Look up the word if you don't know it. History is replete with examples of dictators coming to grief, whether or not it's from the outside or from the inside or via themselves, doesn't matter, right? Certainly, there's no such thing as a historically invincible dictator. Yes, and that's very important. But he says something else. So let's let go of this insecurity, which leads to this goal of invincibility, right? It comes from being insecure and not being able to deal with your insecurity, not being able to accept vulnerability, not having capital trust, not understanding impeccability, etc., right? That's how we can deal with those things. However, let's look at what he says before that. Also, by training, you will be able to freely control your own body. That's very important. If you're not in charge of your body and you come up into a situation which is dangerous, your body says flee, run, whatever, be scared, be afraid. Your body's trained to survive, not necessarily to take initiative. Yes. For the most part, when even predators, when they come up with a danger, their body tells the lion is lying there, supposed king of the jungle. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, what? Oh, I better move. The elephant's about to trample on me. See, the lion scurries away. Right? It does it automatically. It doesn't think that, oh, no, it just does it automatically. It's a threat it cannot deal with. It moves. And this is just part of it. I mean, never mind elephants, rivers, boulder running down a hill. There are many forces which, through even animals, learn to recognize that they can't do anything about and they get out of the way. So your first instinct when it comes to, again, instinct, when it comes to trouble is to flee, get out of the way, right? Um, but go ahead, Beena.
No, no, no. I was just listening. Sorry, I
Ah,
just
ah.
unmuted myself.
Oh, no, no problem. I'm keen to hear from you. I'm keen to hear from you.
No, no.
Um,
Please
I,
continue.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I noticed, by the way, that the line around the window on Zoom when somebody's talking, right? It has a border, a frame. It used to be yellow, but it's changed now to green. So I kind of
Oh,
like it. Yeah. You see what I'm talking about?
yes.
You see?
Yes, I see that. When you are
Yeah.
talking and when I'm talking,
Right,
the
right.
box is, the frame is green now.
Exactly. It indicates who's talking. It used to be yellow. It's green. Anyway,
Yes.
so this point of, our first instinct, you have to control your body because in a fight, somebody makes a threatening move. If you don't have control of your body, you're automatically going to jump away, and you can be guided by this. Yes. If I come at you threateningly like this, you jump straight back. If I come at you threateningly from a slight side angle, you jump in the opposite direction. I can dictate your movements, and I can press you back into a hole behind you that you don't see. Well, there you go, end of view, or something that's going to trip you. See? Very critical stuff. So you need to be able to control your body. Also, it doesn't matter how afraid you are. If you need to be you can't be showing that. Yes. You need to have control of that because it's going to debilitate you. All your energy is going into feeling afraid. Your muscles are shaking and trembling. You don't have control. You can't use it properly, right? So again, very, very key. Just very simple things. Very simple, very obviously. But now Musashi brings up a wonderful point. Again, poor communication. Yes. Uh, he says, and with sufficient training after this, right? Also by training, you will be able to freely control your own body, freely control your own body, conquer men with your body. And with sufficient training, you will be able to beat 10 men with your spirit. What the hell are you talking about, Musashi? This sounds like woo-woo nonsense. How do you conquer men with your body? Attitude, cueing, energy. Yes. If you have ever encountered somebody who feels their power, yes, they when they come into the situation, they put a pressure on you. Yes. Now, when you're coming into a fight situation, yes, and you come in with that energy that's bigger than you feeling it. You have control of your body. Your sheer presence and the energy that you communicate and the cueing, the implication. You're sharing an energy that feels like an elephant energy, the boulder energy, a river in flood energy, right? Coming towards you, whatever. And the instinct of those, like, he says you can beat 10 men with your body or conquer men, plural, right? You come into that, you suddenly spring on them with that energy. Oh my God, here's an elephant, here's a boulder, and they just scatter, they line, and that's it. It's all over right there. Musashi won many, many duels doing this exactly. He simply flat out intimidated his energies, his enemies, not only through this ability to cue, yes, to cue dominance, to cue a power, to cue spirit, but also, through aggression, controlled aggression, and also by breaking pattern. He confused his enemies, and they didn't know what the hell was going on. And when you have a confused enemy who's in doubt, you've already won. That's it, because the energy is in, oh, what the hell's going on? What the hell's going on? And that's it. It's all over. You don't have time for doubts. Yeah, you got to act. So this ability to have control over your body, to be able to be the initiator of cueing, yes, and not to, at the same token, when you have control, you don't react to cueing. You know what it is. You say, no, they're not going to work on me, dude. Forget about it. I'm not falling for your cueing. You know, you might think you're all powerful and invincible. I just see a person. I don't see an elephant. I don't see a boulder. I don't see a river. Yeah. Very, very key. Make sense, Bean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Be amends,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes.
In the bullshit manipulator narcissist, for those who don't know the term, right? In other words, not nice people, right? People, abusers,
Yes.
manipulators, yeah,
Mm.
narcissists, bullies, etc. Right? People who take advantage, etc. They use this very, very, very deliberately, right? So you're in a
Yes.
meeting, right? And the bullshit is going all about his saying, and he's saying blah 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 blah. You agree, right, Beena? They say it with a lot of confidence, and they say it with such assertion and such certainty that they're saying it
Yes.
like it's a fact. And for most people, they're like, well, I don't actually really agree, but they don't. It's so forceful. They don't. Well, if I do disagree, I'm going to get into a whole fight and an argument with this person who's forceful and confident. I don't want to get into an argument because, of course, most people don't have much confidence. They don't trust themselves, so they just kind of nod and go along. But you don't really agree with it. But they've gotten you to agree with something that you don't agree with, simply through that force of
Yes.
spirit, right? Very, very powerful. Again, be honest, be honest. If you are truly focused on honest, again, I say it in the positivity, not in the negativity. Don't be dishonest. Is that really dishonest? Well, it's not that I really disagree, but I don't really agree either. Okay, so it doesn't really affect my dishonesty. I'm not being dishonest, but am I being fully honest? No, absolutely not. Right? I don't
Good.
disagree, but I don't agree either. Yes. I mean, if we're going on a path, I can't disagree and say this is a bad path, but I certainly feel that there's a better path than this. Yeah? See? So they play on this nuance. Yes, they play on this nuance. But be in charge of your body, how you feel, in other words. In other words, taking it to its end, practice mood management, where you set the mood, not your environment. Yes, not queuing, not should, not supposed to be, none of that. You and you alone. It's the only way you're going to achieve independence of being. Because if you cannot be the one who determines your moods, you are always dependent on the environment. It's very simple. Your being is dependent. How you are is thus dependent on how you are responding and reacting to the environment. No matter what it is. Independence of being says it's coming from you. I'm independent. My beingness, how I am, it's self-determined. It's independent. Yeah. Very, very, very important. Right. So this, with sufficient training, you will be able to be 10 men with your spirit. Yes. Yeah. That's very, very key. When you have reached this point, will it not mean you are invincible? See, I automatically, as an editor, take out that superfluous that. Yeah. Yeah, I think if I have done editing, paid editing, professional editing, but if I do it in the future, I'm going to charge people by the that removed. I'll charge you $20 per that removed. You say, oh, that's a good deal. That's a good bargain. No, it's not actually. I'll get paid way more. Tons of superfluous that's. Anyway, so I automatically don't read it, right? Will it not mean you are invincible? That is superfluous. It reads better without the that. Why do you need to say that thoughts that comes from insecurity? Does that not mean that you will be insecure? Yeah, why do you have to overemphasize and prove your point? It's there, right? Very important. Moreover, in large-scale strategy, the superior man will manage many subordinates dexterously. Now, talking about the superiority paradigm, right? This key word there, superior man, right? Concept, key concept. It's part of the underlying psychology of what the book is written for. And for who? It is written for those who wish to be a superior man. No matter woman, person, being, man. Yes. So it's not only misogynistic, but it's also really focused on the superiority paradigm, right? When you take invincible together with superior man, we see the core of the superiority paradigm. The need to be superior, why? Or to be invincible, why? Because you're insecure. It's very simple, right? Yeah. But it's but if you do have independence of being, you will be able to manage many subordinates dexterously, right? And all right, read the whole sentence. Moreover, in large-scale strategy, the superior man will manage many subordinates dexterously, bear himself correctly, govern the country, and foster the people, thus preventing the ruler's discipline. Thus preserving the ruler's discipline. And that does have a real world application. If you're in command of troops or an organization, you don't have to be a dictator, but you need to bear yourself correctly. This is very important. You have to have appropriate queuing. You have to have people trust in you, and you have to demonstrate that that trust is valid. And there's many aspects of leadership. Leadership isn't telling people to do necessarily, which people think. No, leadership is showing a way, and it is being able to ask people to follow you on that way. And when good leadership, people willingly follow, yes, willingly do what's needed. But that's the detailed skills of leadership. It's not about essentially bullying people. It can be, and it can also be effective, but not the most effective. If there is a way involving the spirit of not being defeated to help oneself to gain honor, it is the way of strategy. Yeah. Now, honor is a good thing, except when it is associated with ego. If you are looking to have honor and gain honor because of your impeccability, because of maintaining your integrity, that's one thing. If you are doing it to gain status in the eyes of others, quite another thing entirely. Yes. Yeah. The second year of Shoho, 1645, the 6th month, then 12th day. Yeah. So it's interesting to put this in a historical context. Yes. Yeah. And he signs it Shinmen Musashi. Now his name Miyamoto is where he's from. Right? So, yeah, a little different. So I don't know what the Shinmen means. I'm not sure. There's no note
There,
here.
it was a term we read before in the beginning, Shinmen.
Yeah, yeah. And this Teru Maganojo, this is a student. It says here, right? The pupil, sometimes
Oh,
called Teru Nobuyuki, to whom Musashi addressed Goren no Sho. That's
oh,
the
okay,
name of the book in
okay.
Japanese. So that's to who it is, and this is from him. Just the way the style is. Yeah. All right, where are we at? I think we leave it there for today. Yeah, we start with the water book. Yes, Beena?
Yes,
I think so.
yes, we will do that tomorrow.
I think so.
Thank you so much, Syl, for supporting me
Absolute
with that.
pleasure.
Yeah, because I'm struggling with this toothache still, but
Oh,
uh,
shit.
but
Oh,
that was really fun. That okay,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm sharing this not to share that okay. Oh yes, I was struggling and all that. No, it's not a self pity or trying to get sympathy, but I'm sharing this because look and observe that how powerful the associations are. For me, the association with here, okay, welcome to the Moreness culture. Just
yeah,
saying that, I was even struggling at that time because I just took the painkiller at that time freshly, so it was not working yet. And even that, just saying that, okay, welcome to the Moreness culture, my mind automatically tuned into something else
yeah,
other than just feeling that pain. So associations are really the key, and making powerful associations, and queuing, and many more, of course. These are the real transformative concepts and conceptions of way of impeccability. Your life can change dramatically. I'm saying dramatically because I mean it. I know that, and I have experienced that. Life really changed dramatically after once we start applying all these conceptions in our life. But it is not going to overwhelm you, because transformation in way of impeccability at least only happens when you are ready, because it is coming from yourself. That is the real magic of way of impeccability and transformation. Please do pay attention to that. And thank you so much again for being here with us. Thank you so much, Syl, for sharing. And if you are watching us live or will watch us recorded, please do like and click and subscribe and share our channel with other people, because by doing so, you are going to help the algorithm to give
Yes.
other people also the same type of content other than just nonsense.
Correct. Correct.
So if you
Correct.
want more value in your life,
We're
yes,
shifting to things.
yes,
Yeah. Changing the
please
world.
do pay attention to your
Changing the world.
online
One concept
algorithm
at a
also.
time. Right, Beena?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So please do pay attention to your algorithm, because ultimately this algorithm, this online algorithm, is going to impact and affect your
Yeah.
real life algorithm. So please do
Yeah.
pay attention to that and only
Very
choose
important.
what you really
Very
want to
important.
see more in your life. Yes. Thank you so much, Syl. Thank you so much,
Absolute
Brain.
pleasure, Beena.
And
Absolute pleasure.
Norma, I don't know that
No
you were there.
takeaways from the reading? Anything that you take away?
I'm just a bit struggling with that, so
All
that's
right.
fine. I was keen to, but yes, it is going to take a bit.
Okay. Tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
And yes,
Tomorrow.
yes. And Norma, I don't know that you were there or not, but still I'm saying hello, and I'm still saying that, okay, now, bye
Yes.
for now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
please.
Hello and bye, Norma. We hope always that, even if you're not here live, I know sometimes you watch, and there's no obligation, of course, ever to watch. But we do enjoy when you do and appreciate when you do. And we just enjoy and appreciate you, whether you do or not, listen or connect, or doesn't matter. We still enjoy and appreciate you. So we like saying hello to you. And, likewise to
Yes,
all of our friends, everybody who
exactly.
comes, even if you come occasionally, even if you're a new friend, we do enjoy and appreciate you. It is a very big deal to us, right? It's not something casual, not something casual.
Yes.
All right. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. All right. See you guys tomorrow and see you soon,
See you.
Beena. See you soon.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will try my best to be here. Yes. Okay, so
Bye-bye.
bye for now.
Bye. Bye, everybody. All right. Yeah.